In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Welcome everyone and lecture number 12. Our lecture today, I would consider it myself an extension for lecture number 11, since we have been talking about sacraments in the last lecture, and lecture number 11. So today we will be speaking about worship, icons, and prayer. You will know and come after a few minutes to understand why I have said that this lecture is an extension to the lecture we studied last time. Simply because the same Orthodox foundation where we found the mysteries established on, still the same foundation here is fully represented and clearly represented in our understanding according to Orthodox perspective for worship, icons, and prayers. Let us just go straight away to what is the meaning of the Orthodox foundation when it comes to these three things: worship, icons, and prayers. Alexander Schmemann speaks about liturgy, one of the theologians who lived in the 20th century, and he spoke about liturgy in a magnificent way, actually. He said that the divine liturgy is not an expression of theology, but it is the theology itself. It is the body of theology, the primary locus in which the Christian community receives, enacts, and is formed by the truth of the gospel. This is what Alexander Schmemann said. But why did Alexander said that? Because simply he sees that these actions are manifestations for what we believe in. The worship is a manifestation of our faith. The icons is a way of manifestation to our faith too. The prayers, it's a way of communication, and so on and so forth. So the mysteries, when we explain the mysteries according to the Orthodox foundation or the Orthodox understanding, we spoke about mysteries and an action, a hidden action, and for the unseen divine power and the unseen divine essence acting on a material to represent full presence of God among his people. So in worship, we worship the God who is present among his people. Icons makes the person in the icon present among his people. Prayers is a true presence in front of God and in a community with God. So it's all about communion, about mystical action happens one more time in different way. So let us just take in this session 12, things divided into three main categories. First, the divine liturgy. We will come to speak a little bit about the divine liturgy. The second thing are icons and their veneration. And the third thing will be fasting and the prayer. All of these three aspects as foundations for the Orthodox understanding of Christianity and ways or tracks into establishing a relationship with God. There are key texts as we used in each and every lecture to base them as a cornerstone in our lecture. We will be taking today from Hebrews chapter 12, and we will take a little bit from some other church fathers, ending with the book of Revelations, chapter 4 and 5, and so on and so forth. As we used in our lecture to do, the same thing, we take hit points in this shortened form of the lecture, but I will still recommend it to go through the lecture and read it one more time, listen to it several times, go by yourself, Google the information you receive, keep on reading and searching, and don't feel hesitated at all to place your questions once we meet in the live lecture every Friday as we used to. So let us take it here from the first aspect. When we speak about prayer, I speak about prayer now and the liturgy. The liturgy as a prayer. The liturgical prayer is the prayer we do in the church. And the word liturgy is actually a combination of two words. Leo or leos, a Greek word, means people. Ergon means work. So the liturgy is the work of people, is a collective work for the community of God, the people of God, represented through the people of God in the church, the congregation, and the deacons and the priest. This is what we call a liturgical prayer. So, what is prayer in general and what is liturgy? Prayer in general is a relationship between heaven and earth. Heaven and earth. And the liturgical prayer is the convention of all the parties here on earth as one body in front of God. So it is a kind of embassy of heaven. It's an embassy, it's a community of the whole extracted parts of the people of God from everywhere to be present in one body and one soul and one mind and one spirit in front of the one God. Look, we read that in Hebrews chapter 12 when it says, "But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to innumerable angels in festal gathering, and to the assembly of the firstborn who are enrolled in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of the righteous made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant." So this is the thing. This is the thing. We come as one body, one spirit, standing in front of God in some kind of metaphor. St. Paul trying to write his letter to the Hebrews to tell them that this is something well ordered. This is something acting as an embassy between heaven and earth. This is the conjunction. This is the joint point where we meet all together to unite in one body and one soul and one mind and one spirit, oneness in everything in front of the one God. The same thing is expressed in Revelation chapter 4 and 5. I would recommend also to go and see that the biblical texts also indicate the same thing. When it comes to the liturgy as some sort of prayer, so the liturgy as primary theology, in the beginning of the lecture, I have said that Alexander Schmemann, one of the theologians, he didn't describe liturgy as some sort of theology, but he described the liturgy as the theology itself. In the apostolic age in early Christianity, people and the philosophers all around the world started to accept to themselves Christianity. But the older philosophers that showed up before the time of Jesus were confusing people. So that's why when the church introduced Christianity, they have some certain teaching about God and the nature of God and why incarnation and all of these things. For anyone who searched the early Christianity, who will be able to find all of these things very, very, very clear in the early Christianity. But this kind of confusion created a need for systematic theology. We didn't have a kind of systematic theology at this time or systematic teaching for Christianity in a sense as we have it today. So that's why at that time, the apostles and the then church fathers, early church fathers, started to constitute a form of liturgical prayer that we all pray in these words, and these words were the constitution and the heart of Christianity itself, recognized later on as theology of Christianity. So it's a theological material, basically what we use in the liturgies. When you attend, and you probably will study in future courses, the three liturgies that we commonly use in the Coptic Church, you will find that it's basically all the liturgies, biblical texts, and the Church Father explanations, and all the fundamental doctrines of Christianity represented in the liturgy. In the same liturgy, we speak about Trinity, we speak about incarnation, we speak about resurrection, we speak about the pains of Jesus Christ, and then we speak about the ascension to heaven, and we speak about the life to come. We speak about eternity. So the very top of everything, which is eternity, also represented in the liturgy. So it is the whole theology where you can find it in prayer, and certainly you will find it in the liturgical prayer, as I have already described and explained the difference between this and that. The prayer, a thing I can do it by myself, to go to my own room, to speak to God, to speak openly to Him, but this is just an individual act. I do it myself, but when it comes to the church and we share all together liturgical prayer, where the priest is present and the deacon is present, and also the people of God are present in the church. The liturgy for the festivals, the liturgy is the tongue of the church, the liturgy is the theology of the church. Liturgy also is a kind of drama, but drama here does not mean something sorrowful or anything like that. The word drama actually means in Greek action or deed. Action or deed. Usually, it is instructed a series of sacred actions in which the church enacts its faith. The word itself is not a sense of fiction or entertainment, but its original sense of drama. Drama is a lesson. Basically, in the Greek philosophy, the word drama indicates a lesson, indicates a wise situation from which we can learn something valuable, and so on and so forth. So it's the liturgy is a full lesson. It's a full meal with all the ingredients that you would need to digest and get into your body. So in this metaphorical image that I am trying to depict in front of you now and put it in front of your eyes now, I'm just trying to bring the whole material world in front of your eyes to be sanctified through a relationship and the embassy between heaven and earth in prayer. It's when in the church the heavens come down here in the earth, and when we lift up our hearts to be in the heavens one more time. This is like a panoramic view, or a panoramic way for heavenly Jerusalem, the day to come, and the full presence of God among His people. It had been said about Jesus that He will be present among His people, and God will be present among His people in heavenly Jerusalem in the book of the Revelation. And the same thing happens here on the church, happens here in prayer, happens here in the worship. The second thing I want to speak about is the icon. What is the icon? I remember I have explained once the difference between the word photo and the word icon. The photo is just a photo which reflects the main aspects of anyone or anything. This is just a photo, but it does not embody in some kind of life in it. However, the icon is a directory. It's not an image. It's a something, a live being, a live reality, which brings all what it carries into life. And usually it means the full representation. In the church, we don't have any photos. In the church, we have icons. So why? Because under some certain mystery, as we explained in the last lecture also, when the bishop comes and confirm with the Holy Mirror these photos, the photo turns into a live being through a mystical action of the divine grace upon the portrait or the photo itself, and it brings life into it. This means that the photo of Christ becomes an icon of Christ, icon, and then the icon of Virgin Mary is a live reality for Virgin Mary. It carries all the characteristics and all the power and all the full presence of Virgin Mary into this icon. So this is an overlapping, or something like overlapping for the original status or the original reality, which is brought into being through the material and the encounter with the divine grace through a mystical action. This is the icon. So the icon again You look at the material at one side and the divine grace at the other side. They come together, they bring reality through the true presence of God. Usually in the Orthodox tradition, the icons and the colors in the icons bring a live image of everything, and it has science. It speaks out to the people. The golden background, let's say, in some icons, it represents the uncreated light of God. The light of God is uncreated, it's an energy coming out of God, it's not a created power or created energy. Whatever comes from God has the originality in itself, because God and his energies are one being, one pantocrator in living the whole creation and the whole reality with the Godhead. So this is the thing about icons, the same foundation represented in different aspects in the Orthodox life. And the history, there were many things I have just mentioned here as a reference for you about the history of icons. Things usually does not go easily or smoothly as it used to be, but sometimes people come out and say this is wrong, this is right, and things become negotiable or debatable. And in the past, unfortunately, there were many fights around that, like the iconoclast controversy, which showed up in the 7th century, and it was also the church overcome it. I left the historical record for you as a reference, but it's not like an essential part of our lecture today or what I want to speak on today. The icon is a theology in itself, as I told, and as I have already explained, it brings the uncreated God into our created reality in a full incarnative or incarnational action. This is what I want to say. This is how it is as a theology. So, these are the main things today about worship, about icons, about prayers, about liturgy. The one last thing about fasting and different sorts of prayers. Fasting. Why do we fast? We fast, in fact, because eating is one of the bodily characteristics. The bodily characteristics, and the body is created realm, created world, a created material. And fasting is the complete opposite of the need of this created body. So the uncreated, the wish to the uncreated things exactly is parallel to the wish to the uncreated God. So you separate yourself from the created needs into the uncreated needs. This is the Orthodox understanding of fasting. You are not depriving yourself from anything or banning anything from eating or all of these things. It's not the meaning. The meaning and the target between the target from fasting, like to unite yourself to the uncreated wishes, to the uncreated realms, to connect yourself to the uncreated God, is to go through uncreated tracks. So fasting is uncreated track into the uncreated God. This is what I want to say. These are the main hit points of the lecture, and one also actually systematic part of prayer. Let me just finish with this. The church fathers, many of them actually, like Evgarius, Maximus, Simon, the new theologians, and even the scholar Origen of Alexandria in the beginnings of Christianity, 2nd and 3rd century, they spoke about three distinctive steps in the systematic act of prayer. They say that in the beginning, when we start to pray, we start to purify ourselves. Purify ourselves by neglecting the bodily needs. Again, neglecting the created needs, moving ourselves prepared to the zone of preparation for the grace of God. The second thing, after I get myself purified, I become illuminated. So I am ready to the knowledge of God and the light of God to shine in me. I am become after illumination, the third and the last thing, I become in a full union with God. If we spoke about achieving theosis or achieving the image of God in ourselves, and this is the main goal of our creation in this world, if this is the main goal, so to achieve theosis or the image of God in yourself, you wouldn't be able to do it without these three steps, as church fathers said and explained in early Christianity. You have to purify yourself, and then you will become illuminated, and then you will be ready for the full union with God. Some people takes dozens of years, and some of them takes several years, some of them take the whole life, some of them reach the end of union in this earth, and some of them, unfortunately, they don't come to that end. So that was the main heads I said of our lecture. I would recommend one more time to go through the lecture and pick up the things that you would need to yourself. Keep reading, keep praying, looking and searching seriously for the truth, and believe in your heart that God will bring for you what you wish for. Honestly and frankly, we all work by the grace of God. God bless you all, and see you next time.